There's been a change in the way the NHL does business, and it could have a huge impact on the future of the New York Islanders and their ability to become a Stanley Cup contender.
You're Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Gil Martin here. Welcome, everybody, to the Thursday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We have got a lot to discuss on today's show. We will discuss a big change in the way the NHL is doing business and how that could impact the Islanders' ability to effectively build a contending team. We will take a look at another potential 13th pick for the New York Islanders in Ryan Roobroeck, and the Islanders have announced their preseason schedule as the 2026-2027 season gets closer. We'll talk about that as well. Earlier this week, there was a blockbuster trade in the National Hockey League. And that was when Brady Tkachuk, the captain of the Ottawa Senators, was dealt to the Florida Panthers and was reunited with his brother in South Florida. And yeah, this was a big trade. It's definitely going to impact both teams. The Senators got what they could in return. The Panthers all in to win now. We get it. And yet, it definitely showed an increasing trend around the National Hockey League that really could impact the New York Islanders. And the crazy thing is, it could impact them in a positive way or a negative way, depending on how Mathieu Darche and ownership handle these changes. What is the change? Well, much like in the NBA, players, especially star players, are more or less demanding trades to join the team of their choice and to play with players they want to play with. And when you've got the players with that kind of power, it changes a lot. Now, Steve Staios, the GM in Ottawa, basically said that Brady Tkachuk, he wanted to be traded. And eventually, that forced the Senators' hand. And are we getting to the point where even with time left on their contract, and what, Brady Tkachuk had 2 more years, he is demanding a trade. The team has realistically very little opportunity to, change that. And voila, the trade happens. We saw it with Matthew Tkachuk, Alex DeBrincat, Quinn Hughes. Dylan Larkin just demanded a trade. Darnell Nurse, Pierre-Luc Dubois a couple of years ago. We have seen in the NHL no trade clauses, no movement clauses. I mean, Lou Lamoriello used to give them out like candy, and believe me, he wasn't alone. But, they were handed out to bottom 6 forwards like Pierre Engvall and bottom pair defensemen like Scott Mayfield. And, to me, I'm only giving no trade clauses to, a handful of players if I could help it. But basically what was going on was that players had that available to them, used it as leverage in negotiations, and now they're using it as a benefit, as a way to create opportunities to have more control over their own destiny. But how does this affect the New York Islanders? Well, let's start with this. If players are choosing where they want to go, you got to be a team that players want to play for. And right now, the New York Islanders are not on too many players' lists of, yeah, that's where I want to play. Send me to Long Island. And there are many reasons why that is the case. First and foremost, the Islanders have not won a Stanley Cup in 43 years. They have not been to a Cup final in 42 years. They have not won a division in close to 40 years. When that is the case, and you're not a winner, less players are going to want to come and play for your team. Now, we did get a mailbag question that kind of relates to this. Brian in Vancouver, Washington. I was curious if you think Matthew Schaefer is reason enough to draw a big-name player to Long Island. He is a generational talent. Perhaps there's an elite player wanting to play alongside him. We know the Islanders don't have an extensive history with superstar players wanting to come to Long Island, but could a possible Schaefer effect bring one in the future? Well, Brian, first of all, thank you for the question and integrating it into this discussion. Yes, but that would be my answer. Yes, but. Yeah, there could be players who want to play with Matthew Schaefer, especially if the kid continues to develop into that generational talent. If he is a game changer, if he is one of the top 10 players in the league, if he is one of the top 2 or 3 defensemen in the league, you know, if he's playing 25, 26 minutes a night, winning the Norris Trophy, being a perennial all-star, yeah, that could help. But that alone isn't necessarily going to do it. And you sort of get into a chicken and egg thing, right? The chicken and egg thing is, if you want big-time players to come to your team, if the players are going to have a lot of say about where they're going to play, if that's what you want, you've got to win consistently or have a reasonable hope of being a contending team to pull that off. Matthew Schaefer can be the cornerstone. You got Schaefer and Sorokin. Those are 2 guys you could build a winner around. But right now, this team still kind of stuck in the middle. Not bad enough to get an elite pick. Not good enough to be a cup contender. They're kind of, again, somewhere between 14th and 21st in the league standings. Either going to just make or just miss the playoffs. That's how it's been for 5 years now. All of that, plus, let's face it, there are other factors. And again, these factors can work both ways. The Islanders do have a brand new arena. That will help. Living close to New York City can also help. I know a lot of players may not know what it's like to live on Long Island, but most of them, once they get here, love it, stay, don't want to leave. I get it. But getting that word out there would be helpful. But most importantly, you need a well-run organization that's going to attract players. And again, it comes back to what Mathieu Darche said when he first took the job. We want to build a perennial contender. So what are the teams that all these players want to go to? The Florida Panthers. Yeah, injuries hurt them. They missed the playoffs last year. Before that, 3 straight Stanley Cup final, 2 of them they won. The Colorado Avalanche, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Carolina Hurricanes, the Vegas Golden Knights, the Minnesota Wild, the Dallas Stars. Teams that year after year contend for Stanley Cups, are in the playoffs, are teams that you respect and worry about and have really good players. If the Islanders can put that together, they can win despite the relatively high cost of living on Long Island and the tax ramifications of New York State and some of the other negatives. But if they can put together a winner, winning, success breeds success, right? That's the cliche. You keep winning, more people are going to want to join your team to win. So if the players are going to have a bigger say, it makes it more imperative to be a team that other players want to play for. You want to be a destination in demand. Getting there, getting from where this team is now to that point was what Mathieu Darche spelled out as his goal when he took this job. Got to get there. Because if this trend continues and more players are demanding to go where they want to go, you've got to be one of those teams. And if you get into that cycle, you could enjoy 5, 7, 10 years of contending for a Stanley Cup. And maybe out of 10 years, you win 1 or 2. There's 32 teams in this league right now. And the talent is spread out more evenly than it ever was. You, in this day and age, you do not have a California Golden Seals or an expansion Washington Capitals or an expansion New York Islanders or, in the 80s where you knew by American Thanksgiving that the Quebec Nordiques were not going to make the playoffs and the other 4 teams in that division knew they were going to get in. You don't have teams that win 12 games in an 82 game, now an 84 game season. So with parity the way it is and the loser point, you got to make yourself stand out. And it just adds more urgency to the New York Islanders' need to get to that point where they build a perennial contender. And if it means, in my mind, if it means a year or 2 of struggling, so be it. But that tension between we want to make the playoffs this year and we want to build a long-term Stanley Cup contender, when those two things conflict, in my mind, you got to go for the long term. Because this core hasn't gotten a playoff series win in 5 years and counting. Missed the playoffs in 3 of the last 5 years and is getting older. So let's emphasize the long-term need and health of this team and get us to where we need to be. Because if you can get there, you can self-sustain that by being a team that players want to be traded to, want to sign with as free agents, want to play for. And think about what a difference it would make. Let's even say the Islanders were where, Carolina was this year. And a Jordan Kyrou wants to come to Long Island because he wants to play with Matthew Schaefer and Ilya Sorokin and whoever else the Islanders have on that team. That changes the game big time. If you don't change that, and this trend continues, you could be on the treadmill going nowhere with a lot of effort and stay in the muddy middle or worse. And we don't want that for the long term. The opportunity is there. Will Mathieu Darche and the Islanders be able to take advantage of it? We're going to find out. We have got more to come on today's show. We will add one more scouting report on a potential Islanders draft pick, Ryan Roobroeck. Plus, the preseason schedule is out. And for our Islanders birthday of the day, a native of the Czech Republic who was with the Islanders in the late 1990s. Let's see if you can guess who this center is. We've got that and more next on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Odoo. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place, helping your team move faster, stay organized, and focus on growing the business instead of managing software. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent, it's about everyone working toward the same goal, and that's true in sports just like it is in business. I mean, you could tell that winning teams don't just make reactionary moves, that the organization that wins has a vision, sticks to it, and now you're seeing the results because everyone was working from the same playbook. Great organizations win because operations matter, and that's why you should get Odoo. Try it for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. ED is way more common than most people think, and millions of men deal with it at some point. HIMS offers a simple, convenient way to take care of your health by connecting you with licensed healthcare providers online and giving you access to personalized treatment options from the comfort of your home. No awkward appointments, no pharmacy lines, just a straightforward process designed to make getting care easier. Taking care of yourself shouldn't feel complicated, and HIMS makes the process private and easy to navigate. The healthcare built around your schedule and your comfort. A lot of people put things off because they don't know where to start, but HIMS makes it easier with a straightforward online process and discreet delivery, so getting care feels more comfortable. So to get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/lockedonnhl. That's hims.com/lockedonnhl for your free online visit. hims.com/lockedonnhl. Prescription required. See website for details and important safety information. Sildenafil is a generic version of Viagra. Viagra is a registered trademark of Viatra Specialty LLC. HIMS is not affiliated with or endorsed by Viatris. Get your daily Islanders fix completely ad-free by joining the Everydayer Club today. Start your 7-day free trial right now and get closer to your team without the interruptions. Click on the link in the show notes or go to lockedonislanders.supercast.com for more information. We're going to scout a player the Islanders met with at the scouting combine a couple of weeks ago up in Buffalo. But I'm going to tell you, this is a player I do not think the Islanders should take with the 13th overall pick. Not that he doesn't have pluses, but because the Islanders don't have a second or third round pick, and their needs are so big, taking a chance on a player like Ryan Roobroeck, who has a lot of raw talent and could really develop into a great player, but also has some real red flags that make you question whether or not he's the right guy for your team, I hesitate. Now, he's 18 years old. He's a native of London, Ontario, 6'3", 209 pounds. He will turn 19 in September. Scored 41 goals and 87 points for the Niagara Ice Dogs of the OHL in 2024-2025. Only played 49 games last year, 30 goals, 58 points there. He's got the size. He's got a really good shot, a quick release, knows how to get open. You like the size, and he's strong. This is a big, strong kid who at times was absolutely dominant. But then the red flags go up. He's inconsistent. he doesn't always show enough effort without the puck. And here's a kid who can take over a game or can disappear. And sometimes it's shift by shift, depending on where the puck goes, where he's involved and he's engaged, and then he's not. Even though he's a big kid, his physicality, not always there. And, you know, he projects as more of a second line, maybe third line, a middle six forward who could definitely help on the power play. He's got that great shot. But the question is, can you get him to be consistently dominant, consistently putting in the effort, to use his size to better advantage more often? All of these things are huge questions. Now, a lot of scouts have him going in the high teens to high 20s. So it would be a little reach at 13. Maybe if the Islanders trade back, add a couple of, a second round pick, let's say, or a third round pick, or both, and move from 13 to, let's say, 21 or 22. Maybe then. But this kid could either make or break you. He could be a steal or a coach killer, or a GM killer for that matter. I don't think the Islanders should risk it unless there is a trade where they trade back, he's still available, and they have a couple of more swings, a couple more bites at the apple, as they say, with a second or third or even another first round pick. If you've got that, maybe it's worth taking a little bit more of a chance. I like his potential. I don't like the inconsistency. Every coach and every general manager, not every, but many of them are so confident they can be the guy who can, bring out that talent consistently. But if you don't, if you swing and miss, boy, that could set this organization back. So I take it with a grain of salt. If they pick him, would I be devastated? No. I love the potential. I love the talent. But if you don't have a second and third round pick, you can't be reaching for a kid who's as inconsistent right now as Ryan Roobroeck. And let's see how he does 3-4 years down the road in the NHL, assuming that he gets that far. We have got more to get to on today's show. The Islanders' preseason schedule is out. It's a little different this year. We'll talk about that and more next on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. If you've got a sweet tooth like I do, you know how tough it is to find that perfect treat without all the sugar. That's why Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shot brings back that nostalgic flavor in a whole new way. Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots treat your taste buds to an explosion of fruity flavor with a tasty caffeine kick. It's a quick, easy way to satisfy that sweet craving while keeping things simple and on the go. We've got a zero sugar treat that's sweet tooth approved, and I love how convenient it is too. It's just a small portable shot that I could grab whenever I need a little pick-me-up. It's become my go-to when I want something sweet without going overboard. So get candy-flavored chaos with Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots. They're available online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. That's 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Check it out today. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. There are more live events than ever worth seeing right now. Games, concerts, comedy shows, festivals. The hard part usually isn't deciding what you want to attend. It's actually getting the tickets. Between long wait times, confusing checkout processes, and surprise fees, buying tickets can sometimes feel harder than it should. But that's why so many fans are turning to Game Time. The app is built to make buying tickets simple with upfront pricing, seat views before you buy, and exclusive savings opportunities that help get you to the events you want without the usual hassle. And look, I love the fact that what you see is what you pay. You get all the way to checkout at some other sites, and suddenly the final price looks completely different. Game Time takes the guesswork out of it. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets to every type of event with Game Time. Just download the Game Time app, Create an account and use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. So Wednesday, the Islanders announced their preseason schedule, and they also announced their 2 rookie camp scrimmages. So this first scrimmage will be Sunday, September 13th, 2 o'clock in the afternoon at New Jersey against the Devils rookies. And then Tuesday, 2 days later, September 15th, a 6 o'clock p.m. start. Islanders rookies against the Devils rookies once again at the Islanders practice facility. Now, remember, this year, the Islanders and the rest of the NHL are going from an 82-game regular season schedule to an 84-game schedule. The season is going to start a little bit earlier, probably the very end of September, maybe the very beginning of October. And then we're only going to have, instead of 6 preseason games, 4. So the Islanders will not be facing the Philadelphia Flyers, a team they face regularly in the preseason. It's 2 games against the New Jersey Devils and 2 games against the New York Rangers in the preseason. We start Sunday, September 20th, a 1 o'clock in the afternoon matinee at New Jersey against the Devils. Tuesday, September 22nd, a 7 o'clock Eastern time start at the New York Rangers. Friday, the 25th of September, a home game against the Rangers, 7 o'clock Eastern time start. And then Saturday, the 26th of September, 7 o'clock Eastern time, home game against the New Jersey Devils. So it's Devils, Rangers, Rangers, Devils, 2 road games, 2 home games. And that is the preseason schedule for the New York Islanders. I'm thinking that the regular season probably starts around September 29th, 30th, October 1st, something in that range. But mark your calendars, that's the Islanders' schedule for the preseason, down to 4 preseason games. And that's going to be a little bit more of a struggle for some of the rookies and some of the guys who are trying to make the roster, whether it's on a PTO, a tryout, professional tryout contract, or guys recovering from injuries. They're going to have a harder time making that impression on the coaching staff. But the good news is preseason, not that far away. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. And today is the 55th birthday of former Islanders center Robert Reichel, the native of the Czech Republic, 5'10", 185 pounds, a 4th-round pick by the Calgary Flames back in 1989. 1 year later, in the 90-91 season, he joins the Flames, stays there until he is sent to the Islanders during the 96-97 season, late in the year, plays for the Islanders in 97-98. And 98-99, then plays for the Coyotes and the Maple Leafs before heading back to Czechia to finish out his pro career. Played in 830 career NHL games, 252 goals, 630 points, 388 penalty minutes. Add 8 goals and 31 points in 70 playoff games, but none of those as a member of the Islanders. One of his best games as an Islander, November 2nd, 1998, Islanders hosting the Panthers at the Old Barn, the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Sean Burke, the goalie for Florida, Tommy Salo in between the pipes for your New York Islanders. And our Islanders' birthday of the day helps set up the first goal of the game just a minute, 11 seconds in. Reichel and Trevor Linden set up Brian Smolinski on the power play. That makes it 1-0 Islanders. A little less than 5 minutes later, the Panthers tie it, and it's 1-1. Islanders then trail 2-1 in the second period when, on the power play again, Reichel and Gino Ojic set up Brian Smolinski. That ties it at 2-2. Then Late in the second period, Robert Reichel scores his second goal of the year. It's unassisted. That makes it 3-2 Islanders. And then in the third period, after Trevor Linden makes it 4-2, Reichel scores again. Brian Berard and Mike Watt with the assists. Islanders go on to a 6-2 win over the Panthers. 18 saves for Tommy Salo, but for Rob Reichel, 2 goals, 2 assists. He was a +2. He had 6 penalty minutes, scored 2 goals on 3 shots, had the game winner, and was on the ice for 20 minutes and 45 seconds. Rob Reichel, a top 6 forward. He is our Islanders' birthday of the day. You can get your daily Islanders fix without interruption by joining the Everydayer Club. And this is always a bonus. You could start a 7-day free trial right now and get closer to your team without the interruptions. Click on the link in the show notes or go to lockedonislanders.supercast.com for more information. I'm Gil Martin. I've been covering the New York Islanders for 2 decades, and I wrote the book Ice Wars on the history of the Islanders' rivalry with the Rangers from 1972 till the modern era. So glad you could join us today to talk a little Islanders hockey. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, bringing you the biggest stories about your New York Islanders. So hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. And thanks for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. If you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever's on your mind. You could follow the show on X at Locked On Isles. You could follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYRVSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all year long, and it's great to talk Islanders hockey with you anytime. Everydayers, we're back tomorrow. We'll wrap up our draft preview. We'll talk a little bit about where the Islanders stand and what we expect to happen. A lot of trades going to go down in the draft. Don't know if the Islanders will be involved in any, but Friday and Saturday should be exciting. And again, we will have a bonus episode going live Friday night / Saturday morning at our usual midnight premiere on YouTube. And it'll be up on YouTube and on wherever you get podcasts after that, discussing the first round pick of the New York Islanders, assuming they make it. Until then, have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. And of course, let's go Islanders.